I'm Joseph Baker, and I'd like to talk to you about my approach to the work on Symposium. I started off this project by looking at the dictionary definition of the word. Symposium originates from the culture of ancient Greece and the ancient Greek language. The first part of the word comes from sun, that means together, and the second part, potes, that means drinker. So the idea is about two things interacting together. With these two things, sun and potes, coming together, they form the word sympotes, which means fellow drinker. Over time, this word developed into symposium, the word we recognise today. Today, the word is known as describing a conference or gathering of people to discuss a particular subject. What I was really interested in, however, was how light from the origins of the word interacted with objects, how the sun cast shadows across things, almost how two parts come together and have a conversation with each other. I looked at Greek philosophers, playwrights, gods and leaders to get an understanding of what things may have been discussed within these gatherings. I looked at the playwright Aristophanes, who wrote the play The Frogs, that inspired the Athenian philosopher Plato to write the Symposium in response. In Greece, the Greek philosophers used to drink at these meetings, so they became quite daring how they discussed and disagreed with each other. I really liked the idea of taking some of these symbols and seeing how far I could push the image making using them as shadows. So I started by creating drawings and paper stencils to see if I could cast shadows over objects, creating interesting juxtapositions. I wanted these to work directly in response to the people and locations I had read about, and thought about how I could combine the Greek mythological worlds with my own environment. I shot a collection of photographs using the stencils with various light sources. Looking at the Acropolis on top of Athens, the light would have nothing to cast shadows onto the buildings, so at sunset there would be these long abstract shadows. I also became really interested in object-oriented photography, objectology, and started studying still-life artists like Dutch masters Cézanne, Picasso, and photographers like Irving Penn, Edward Weston, and Harold J. Ross. This is part of my research paper. I really wanted to push my photography and see if I could make it as free, abstract and progressive as possible. I used a macro 100mm lens with f2.8 aperture. I experimented with using a range of techniques like the photographers I looked at within my essay. I also wanted to see if I could use cast shadows to tell more personal stories as I developed the technique. Doing these experiments, I found that natural light, especially in the golden hour of the day, gave me the best results. I also shot mostly in black and white to play with materials, form and shape. The light is low and intense and focuses the shadows across the objects in the most dramatic way. From here on, I just shot during this hour of the day. I really like the idea I investigated in my paper called pareidolia, where a viewer will see images inside patterns. So I tried to see how much of the image I needed to be recognisable and how I could make ambiguity so that the viewer might see something else in their mind. I wanted to create these kinds of abstract shadows and shapes within my own environment at home and create a set of interesting, abstract photographs blending the two realities together. Then we went into lockdown. My work took on a whole new meaning, where you spend more time on your own. You can't meet to discuss things, and you seem to have more time on your hands to look at the shadows cast around the house in different times of the day. Finally, I wanted to see just how far I could push my images to become abstract. I studied the film director Steve McQueen. I love the way he uses images in really abstract forms, and I tried to see how far I could push the image to hold its subject before it breaks. I entered the project with an open mind and built images as I learnt more. I like the fact that the final images were not pre-planned or what I had anticipated, and I feel it makes them much stronger. I feel this made my project stronger overall.